everyone. And
Good morning.
thank you for joining us today for this webinar regarding hiring disabled adults. Today we have 5 speakers joining us. We have Tim Scott with Country Consulting Group. We have Charles Lewis, Terry Tedeske, Tracy Fry, and Nancy Dubosc, who are from the Vocational Rehabilitation group, and they're going to be able to share information about their Windmills program. So I thank them all for being here, especially knowing that we are struggling with workforce and knowing that we have a community here in the White Mountains and in the Mount Washington Valley who aren't struggling with housing, but they're looking for jobs. And this program will allow us to understand a little bit more about resources available when hiring somebody who's disabled. So I would like to turn it over to Tim Scott, if I may, to just share a little bit about your experience in an article that you recently had in the Conway Daily Sun, which was about hiring disabled adults and the community that you're aware of right here in the Mount Washington Valley.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you all for being here this morning. Again, my name is Tim Scott, and I'm the parent of a 33-year-old man on the spectrum, my son. And about a month or so ago, I wrote an article for the Conway Sun about the need both to find jobs for these people like my son who are smart but different, and also that it's also a career path for people, because that's another area that we've had some trouble. And as an employer over the years, I know how hard it's been to find reliable help anyway, at any level. But my most important job, as I said, was being the father of a son who's on the spectrum. In the 12 years since college, he has been back in the Valley and has terrible time finding employment. He did find a job and he worked for about 7 years at Children Unlimited, but their need to balance their budget with what they see as charitable work. Charlie was considered a charitable case that made his job go away. So he's just a volunteer. I will also say there's always been a willingness that people consider his employment. He's smart and reliable. He never missed a day in 7 years at Children Unlimited, but he'll always need some kind of job support. He can't just be said, go out and do this. And then, like many people, he can't do that. So he needs some level of job coaching. And that's been available here in the Valley in varying degrees over the years. And I think that has kept him from having a job that would be really satisfying. And frankly, menial jobs, he's been offered jobs cleaning toilets and, cutting up paper at Glass Graphics, but those aren't really rewarding jobs for a kid who's got a college degree and who's high on the IQ scale. So, in introducing this session today, I hope it offers some level of inspiration and information. And I'm really grateful to Michelle and the Chamber, and also to all of you other panelists for getting this discussion going. And I hope it gets some view all over the Valley in the months to come. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And I have to say, if somebody who knows Charlie and had kids in Children Unlimited when he worked there, it was heartwarming. And I know my son still remembers him and remembers the interactions and having him there. And so I know the hard work that he's done. And I know, and I've seen him perform in theater and how amazing he is. And even working with the group that are also in the shows with him, he brings so much to it. And I think it's that idea of not thinking of somebody who's disabled, but it's understanding a lot more, and it's being inclusive. And I think that's just something that, the other conversation that we're having here. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I also want to remind people to look on, you could search for Conway Daily Sun, hiring disabled adults, because that's the article that you wrote to share more information about this and the awareness. I would also like to introduce folks from Vocational Rehabilitation. And Terry, shall we start with you?
Sure. Yes.
Well, I will hand it over to you to share information about Windmills and resources that you have.
Okay, well, I'm Terry Tedeske. I am the business relations consultant for VRNH. And I work with businesses to help them hire people with disabilities, support people with disabilities in the workplace with them. And we just are here to let you know that we have services for businesses that many people aren't even aware of. VR is a federal program. There's money. Our mandate is to serve two customers. One is our participants with disabilities, and two is the businesses that are trying to include them in their workplace. So I'm going to go to Tracy Fry because she is going to be doing the presentation. Do you want Charles and Nancy? Should we have you have an introduction before we start the PowerPoint? Go for it, Charles.
Hi, I'm Charles. I work with VRNH as a employment specialist. I've been with them for approximately 8 months. And that's pretty much it.
And what is it, the work that you do, Charles?
Well, as Terry does, I have a dual role. I work with both businesses, finding out what their staffing needs are and what, if anything, we can do to help. And I also work with vocational rehabilitation participants that are currently in job search. And I try to match up a position that a business is looking for with an appropriate participant for that position.
Great, thank you. And Tracy, we'll hand it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Fry. I work for VR New Hampshire. I've been with the agency for almost 13 years. I do a little bit of everything, something that may, resonate with businesses today. I do the same in concert with Terry, Charles, and Nancy, working with businesses, finding out what their needs are, trying to make matches. If we leave you with anything today, is that we are a resource. We are a resource because not only do we have people looking for work, but by the end of the presentation today, I think you'll see that we have a lot of other services we can offer businesses other than a body to fill a position. And so hopefully we can kind of have that be the lasting impression after we finish presenting today. But we have one more member of our team who works in our Keene area. So I will hand it over to Nancy before I start the presentation.
Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, I represent the Monadnock region. I work out of Keene, our Keene regional office, and I've been with VR for about 2 months now. And what might be of interest to viewers is that I come from a deep background working with the Small Business Development Center and have a pretty thorough understanding of how businesses work and what employment challenges and needs and opportunities are. And I work with Terry, Charles, and Tracy as a team, really to look at these employer needs statewide and look to businesses as our very important customer base for what we can provide and the resources that we have. Thanks, Tracy.
Great, thank you. I know that, Charles, I think you may have slides or presentation you would like to share. How about we go right to you for some more information of what Windmills program might look like or what some of the resources or the trainings that are offered.
Okay, Tracy, you ready? You're muted.
I'm ready. Okay, so here's the beginning of our very brief presentation. And I believe Michelle will also be sharing these slides with anyone who is interested in having them following the presentation. Again, we are VR New Hampshire. Our new tagline, our new is really empowering individuals, engaging business, which is really relevant today. We're meeting with businesses and talking about our services to businesses. So you can go to the next slide, Charles. We are going to start our presentation today with a video, and this video is of Dr. Richard Pimentel. He's kind of in the disability rights movement. He's an icon. He's an iconic man. And we'll talk a little bit later about the training he created that we can offer to businesses. But for now, we just want to kind of start the feeling of this presentation off with a really important message from him. So go ahead and take it away.
I'm often asked by employers, what is a really good job for someone who's blind? Or what would a good job be for someone who uses a wheelchair or is deaf? What are the good jobs for people with disabilities? And I've always wondered exactly what to say to the employer. But not too many years ago, I was giving a conference in a large city, and a gentleman who was an executive in human resources raised his hand. And he said, "Mr. Pimentel, I've been listening to you, and I want you to know that I, in my own company, have a job that would be perfect for someone in a wheelchair. What should I do?" And I thought a minute, and here's what I said. I said, "You've got a job that would be perfect for someone in a wheelchair." He said, "Yes." "They could do better?" "Yes." I said, "Great. Go to bed early tonight. Wake up early in the morning. Go to a wheelchair place and buy a wheelchair. Bring the chair into your company. Find out who is doing that job in your company. Put them in the wheelchair and watch production go up." He said, "What?" I said, "Well, if you've got a job which could be done better by someone in a wheelchair, by all means, put someone in a wheelchair and let them do it." He said, "I don't understand." And I said, "None of us understand. Here's what we need to know. There are no good jobs for people in wheelchairs, but there are people in wheelchairs that are good for jobs. There are no perfect jobs for people that are blind, but there are people who are blind who are doing a great job. And there's no jobs in your company, no jobs in your city, no jobs in your state for people with disabilities. But there are people with disabilities who should be considered for every job you have. You wouldn't hire someone just because of their race or gender or ethnicity. Don't hire someone just because of the disability. Hire them because they can do the job.
So that's pretty powerful. And we start our presentation that way because not to intimidate businesses, not to make them feel bad for that gentleman saying, "I have a job for someone in a wheelchair." We hear that a lot. We hear that a lot. We have a job that would be really good probably for someone on the spectrum because it's repetitive. And so this, that little clip there just gives a little bit of a preview of, some of the things we can discuss in trainings that we offer to business. But keep in mind that it's really the goal of our program is to work with people, individuals, find out what they're good at, what their passions are, where they want to be and then find the match, right? And so there are businesses out there that have the right match for individuals looking for work. So I still feel emotion when I see that video every single time. And I've seen it about 100 times because it just kind of sits there with you. Like, there are jobs in companies for individuals with disabilities. So on that note, what is voc rehab? What is vocational rehabilitation anyways, right? That's why we're here. I typically would ask anyone in the room if they've worked with VR, but we're a small group today. So really what we want to do is give you as much information about VR and hopefully work with you in the future. VR is a federally funded program. It's over 100 years old. We have been working with individuals with disabilities for over 100 years, which actually started prior to World War I, when people were coming back from war with injuries that they were no longer to do the work that they used to do. Of course, over the 100 years in the disability rights movement and the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, a lot of things have changed within our program and who we serve and how we operate. But really, just if you want to keep in mind that we are in every state in the country, and in New Hampshire, we are right around the corner from this chamber, which is we have an office in Berlin, New Hampshire, and we have counselors covering the entire North Country working with individuals with disabilities in our program. So everyone in our program does have a documented disability that finds them eligible for our services. Our services are free to individuals with disabilities as well as businesses. So you can go to the next slide, Charles. Some of the things we do for the individuals in our program. And I just want to quickly note that we start working with people in high school. So we have vocational rehabilitation counselors in high schools, starting work with kids, looking at, self-advocacy, looking at what is a labor market, what is post-secondary education, what do you want to do when you grow up? All of those things, we're in high schools working with kids. Additionally, we work with adults or anyone eligible for our services. This is just 4 or 3 quick bullets of some of the things we do for people, but we offer individualized assistance for the entire job search process, helping them decide on a career and getting them to the end of getting them employed in competitive integrated employment. For every person that comes into our program, it's extremely individualized. You could come in having no idea what you want to do, and VR can help you figure out where your skills are, where your interests are. Do you need education and training to get to your goal? And then we have people who may come in later in life who have acquired a disability later in life and can no longer do the work they used to do. So what can you do now? So there's a lot of things. And one thing I want to just note that VR does work for incumbent workers. So we can work with businesses that have an individual already employed who has a disability that has become a barrier to their job. So we're not always just helping people find work, we're helping them stay in their jobs. So that's something that a lot of people don't know about us. We help fund tuition, education, and training to meet individuals' career goals. So if they need education to reach their goal in order to obtain employment, we can help them do that. We work with individuals with self-employment plans, which is really an exciting program that we do a lot of. And Nancy coming to our program, Nancy Dabowski, who you met earlier, we're hoping she can do more to help that program grow. These are just a minute amount of things we do for the individuals in our program to get them ready for work. So the next slide. We just kind of wanted to put up the statistics here. It's a pretty in-your-face visual, but 56 million people in America have a disability. And when we're talking about, what's really important to your chamber right now is DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. No diversity group is excluded from disability, right? It's the only minority group you can join. So when employers are really focused on, or businesses are really focused on DEI, as part of their business model, we really want to be working with you because disability impacts everyone. It's colorblind. It doesn't know gender. So just keep that in mind. VR is here to work with you, help reach your DEI goals in your company. People live with family members. 30% have a family member with a disability, at least one. And 10% have one child with a disability. And the estimated 30% of veterans have a disability. And I jotted down our 2022 CDC data for today's presentation for New Hampshire. We have right now 359,000 adults with disabilities in New Hampshire. That is 1 in 5 adults in New Hampshire have a documented disability. So when you really think about that and you sit with that statistic, that means you already work with people with disabilities. You already have friends and family with disabilities. Disability is not a scary monster in a closet. We are living amongst with our friends, family, coworkers, and community members every day. Next slide, please. So why we're here is we want to talk a little bit about some of the services we offer to just business. And these are free services. We are here to help you. We are a resource. So we're going to highlight a few things, and hopefully you'll call us and we can talk more about your specific needs after you see this. So go ahead, next slide. Okay, here's our little laundry list. We can help you to recruit individuals with disabilities. So when you have open positions, if you share them with us and talk to us about them, we are able to tap into the group of people we are working with and our partners to try to find a fit for your position. Secondly, we can offset training costs if you hire an individual with a disability for our program, which I'll talk about in our future slides. We can help you retain an employee who has a disability so that they may need assistive technology or assistance to stay on the job. A business can call us and we can come in and help to make that happen. We can help you to make plans to promote individuals with disabilities. We really, really, really emphasize the fact that we do not just get people fluff jobs. We do not just want to get someone a cleaning job. We want people to grow, become promoted, and get into a career pathway and out of poverty. So I always say to individuals in our program, I want to find a job that works for you, that works for you professionally, personally, and financially. And so what are their goals and how do we grow them in a position, not just keep them where they are? We can customize training for your business, right? So we have an array of services that we can offer for training that you can do with your business managers or your team at a lunch. We're here to provide that, as well as talking about disability related topics. If you ever have a disability related question, you can call our team and we will find the answer. We may not know it, but we will find the answer. So we really should be your first call if you have a disability related question. Next slide.
Can I just jump in for a minute, Tracy?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to kind of extend your point on what we're looking for in jobs for our participants. And we are looking for competitive integrated employment. I mean, that's our ultimate goal. And that's what, the feds have tasked us with, is competitive integrated employment, not sheltered workshops, not sub-minimum wage. It's not like we will support those things if it's going to help people get a competitive integrated job. We do Tracy will tell you a little bit about what we do as far as, helping businesses to decide if this person is really going to work out, and for the individual to decide if they think that they can maintain this job. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and another thing I did not mention is that those are just a few highlights of what we can help with. if you do end up hiring someone with a disability that needs assistance, we can help with job coaching that may ultimately fade over time. We can help you to file for tax credits that you are eligible for hiring individuals with disability. And we can also give you information on the federal bonding program if you have fears of hiring an individual that you may consider high risk. So we really can be your one-stop shop for a lot of business resources. One of our programs that is way underutilized that we offer is the on-the-job training program. This is really great right now because you need people, but you might not be seeing the exact skill set you're looking for. And this isn't one in which you may hire this person that may not fit every single box, but you really like them and you think they could be a good match. VR New Hampshire can pay the salary of the employee who will be training the person you hire. So really it is a great way for you to, save the cost and time of the individual that will be providing the training. And that's something we negotiate what they need to learn. How do we get them there? What does that training look like? And VR will reimburse your business the training costs. It's really minimal paperwork for you as the business. So that's something that we offer. It's, again, way underutilized. We'd love to do more of it. And if it's something you're interested in, then we would certainly be happy to talk to you about it because it's a great, great benefit to a business. We don't have a lot of stipulations around and rules around how many hours the person has to be working. We don't have a lot of red tape with this program. So we would love, love, love to bring it into more businesses. So that's one that we offer. Go ahead to the next slide. The second is internship programs. And you see here a slide of some interns from summer 2021 and our partnership with CVS Health. We arranged the first in the nation with CVS Health last summer for a summer remote, so work from home, administrative assistant internship. And these individuals worked with senior level managers all over the country for CVS, 15 hours a week for 6 weeks. And as you see here, we have our team of interns and the before and after pictures. Is really an incredible program that we put together with CVS. At this point, one person is still working for CVS. They were hired after the internship and are continued to work for them. 2 more said, not right now, but now they're back re-engaged with CVS and CVS is finding jobs for them. So sometimes we may not always have the perfect person for a job, but we can offer internship opportunities where there is mitigation of risk for the employer. So VR New Hampshire will cover the liability. We cover the payroll. We pay the interns, and we can really customize an internship program so that we'll give you access to potential candidates for jobs. They're interested in your business. They want to be there for a set amount of time. It gives you the opportunity to meet them, see them in your workplace. And there's no expectation of hire following an internship program, but oftentimes the employer does not want to let go of the people. So this is just one example. We're doing this program with CVS Health again this summer. We had 16 people on Tuesday, 16 individuals with disabilities in New Hampshire sign up for the CVS Health program. And again, we can do this with a small business. We can do this with a 2-man show, a 1-man show. And it would really give you access to people who are in job exploration, who are out there in looking for work. So I just did another internship on the Seacoast. We had 5 interns go through an internship at Wind Waste Innovations. It was an 8-week internship, 15 hours a week. And they're looking at hiring 3 out of the 5. So it really is a great way to get employees, really, really. And I would love, love, love to talk to you about setting something like this up for your business. Next
Tracy
slide.
is our internship expert, but
Yes, I love it. It's so beneficial. It's no risk to an employer.
Yeah.
It is
That's what I wanted to say. There's no promise of employment. We're not asking for that. We're just asking for this person to have this experience, build their skills. And sometimes it works out and people are getting jobs after these internships. But for the business, it's a great way to, see what somebody can do in the real world. So
And it's totally customizable. I will work with you one-on-one to make the program work for you. The one we finished in the Seacoast recently, they loved it so much. They said, okay, we want to do this again. When can we do it again? Next spring, next fall, looking at the cohort, how many people? And then I said, why don't we just do this all year? We can do an open enrollment internship program. So as someone comes through that's interested in your business, they can get started and do the internship. And he's like, yes, because he didn't want to stop this momentum that they have with when you bring individuals with disabilities into your workplace, it changes the workplace culture in a positive way. And so he said just at the last day, they couldn't stop talking about how impacted everyone was from having these interns in the business. So we're going to continue to work with them on an ongoing basis. So another thing that we talked about in our bullets here that I want to move on to is training. And you did see Dr. Richard Pimentel at the beginning in the video clip. He created the Windmills Disability Awareness Program. And we are 3 of us, 5 of us in the state are certified Windmills trainers that we can present these modules to your business. We can do a lunch and learn. We can do a virtual windmill session. So kind of reading the slide, many organizations would like to employ individuals with disabilities, but there's fear, bias, myth, and myths create barriers to this hiring process. This training focuses on attitudes and human factors while addressing concerns, including legal requirements and accommodation. Excuse me, allergy season. As I said, I've worked in VR for 13 years. When I attended this training, thinking, I know everything about disability or a lot about disability. And we attended this training in North Carolina amongst other vocational rehabilitation professionals. And it doesn't matter if you're a disability expert or if you are a mechanic. Everyone experiences this program the same way, is like, wow, I never knew I thought that, or I never knew that about myself. And it really does open your eyes to your own notion of, or your own preconceived notions about disability. And this program, it works for any DEI. It really is beneficial. Is there another slide on windmills after this, or are we just this one?
just this one.
Okay, Terry, why don't you just put in your 2 cents, because this is your passion project.
It is my passion, but it doesn't seem to be too many other people's passion, but it's just such a great way. I'll just tell you what Richard Pimentel, the creator, says about it. In Windmills training, you're not going to learn about people with disabilities. You're going to learn about yourself. And that is just the best way to put it. I've been around disability all my life, and I was blown away by what I learned about myself and how many preconceived notions I had, and how many, how much I was projecting onto individuals with disabilities. So it's not at all, it's very approachable. It's not, it's not, we try to make it as least uncomfortable as we can. If you're feeling uncomfortable at all, that's okay. There's supposed to be a little that goes on with the training, but it's just a terrific, I was saying earlier, everybody should do Windmills training, because it just kind of shows you how to best treat other people. And so that's my 2 cents on that.
Okay, while we're on the slide, we do offer disability etiquette training, ADA training, and we have the ability to fund training specific to your business needs. Very recently, we had a business in the North Country who had hired several deaf individuals, and they wanted training on deaf culture and how to best, work with the individuals that they hired, communication and everything. Myself, nor was Terry an expert on deaf culture. We hired, Northeast Deaf and Hard of Hearing to come in and do a training for the business. And that's, again, at no cost to the business. We have funds available to provide specific individualized training to your business, whether or not you have an individual with a disability already. We just want to know that you're interested in hiring an individual with disability would allow us to provide that free training for you. Okay, next slide. Oh, okay. So Terry stole the thunder from the end of this video clip, but we're going to close with this. And
So sorry.
yeah, but that's okay. Because his words, if they stick with people, that's important. So this is a little clip Dr. Pimentel had on the Windmills training. So hopefully it will entice you again, any of the things you heard about today, to call us and work with us and reach your DEI efforts. We are here to help. So take it away, Charles.
In the very beginning of the disability movement, we were asked to do training for employers. People felt that perhaps there was some resistance to hire people with disabilities, and they weren't sure exactly why people were reluctant. We took a look at it and asked a lot of the experts why, and they all told us the same answer. Employers are reluctant to hire people with disabilities because they lack confidence in people with disabilities' ability to do the job. So we decided we needed to create a training that was going to change their minds about people with disabilities. We gave it, and it didn't work. So we went back and said, is there another answer? And we found one. It wasn't that supervisors and managers didn't have confidence in people with disabilities' ability to do the job. It's that many of them lack confidence in their own ability to supervise and work with people with disabilities. So we went back and wrote what eventually became Windmills. Because in Windmills, what we decided to do is this. We didn't want to change employers' minds about people with disabilities. We wanted to change employers' minds about their own ability to supervise, to manage, to hire, and it worked. What they found out was great. What they found out was that the very skills they use to supervise and manage and work with everyone are the only skills they need to work with people with disabilities. We just put in some things to consider when you're working with someone who might have a physical or an emotional disability that allowed them to modify it just very smallly. So it works out perfectly well. So in Windmills, if you're going to take Windmills, you're not going to be learning about people with disabilities. You're going to be learning about yourself.
He's an incredible, incredible man. And I will say, training in person with him was like one of the highlights of my career. There is a major motion picture movie about his story and how he became what he is today. It's called The Music Within. And it's an amazing movie. He was in Vietnam and became an individual with a disability following the war, and it's his journey to through the disability rights movement. So I don't know if it's on Netflix currently, but you can certainly Google it. I know you can find it somewhere on YouTube to watch, but it's an incredible movie. And we would love to take his training and bring it to New Hampshire and provide this for businesses in the North Country and statewide. In closing, we have our team here. We have 4 people here ready to answer questions at any time. Our contact information, and as of tomorrow, we will have a staff member in the North Country. Her name is Azita Miller, and she comes from right outside of Manhattan, and her family has moved up here. And so she is incredible. I can't wait to introduce people in the chamber to her, and you can all have a really close point of contact right in the area to work with on our team. So thank you so much for your time. We hope this was a value add for you. And again, we're all available and willing to talk anytime to participate in any of these programs. Thank you.
I'd like to take the moment to thank all of you for sharing this information, for bringing this to our attention, because it's such a valuable resource on so many levels. And I know there's a question that we have, and Terry, maybe you can elaborate on this, which is how do you address the likely loss of SSID and or Medicare, Medicaid benefits when earning too much money?
We work with benefits counselors to work closely with our participants who are receiving benefits to help them work out how much can they make and not put their benefits in any kind of danger of being, lost or rescinded because of pay. And we really, it's the individual's choice. Some people want and need to stay on their benefits. Other individuals do have the goal of eventually getting off benefits, but any of that stuff, these benefits counselors are experts in the whole system, in the whole Social Security and Medicaid system. And we want to support people not endangering their benefits if that's not what they want.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really goes back to that. We want to find out what works for you personally, professionally, and financially. And if your goal is to stay on benefits, then your employment plan with vocational rehabilitation is we're going to look at the implications of work and how much work and how much wages and everything like that will be considered in your individualized plan. In no way, shape, or form would we ever force someone into a full-time employment that wanted to stay on their benefits. It's really customized to that individual's choice and where they want to go.
Thank you. Again, I really appreciate everybody taking the time to share this information with us. I know before we were presenting this virtually, we were just having a conversation of this being more of an introduction of the resources that are out there. And I'd really like everybody who's watching this to stay tuned, because we'd like to schedule something in person for, a much more in-depth session, or, having that conversation where they can actually interact with you and have, and maybe talk about their experience, if they've hired somebody with a disability and what they've learned. So again, I thank you. If there's anything anybody else would like to share before we close, that would be great. But again, thank you so much. And I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Michelle. We're really happy to be here. And again, our team is small but mighty. We're really here for you. And if you want us back, we'd love to come back at any point.
And I just will give a brief mention to our Employment Leadership Awards. We do that every year. People from all over the state nominate businesses who are doing a great job of hiring, recruiting, hiring, and promoting, integrating people with disabilities into the workplace. And so there are, what Michelle just said, or somebody said, that made me think that it is great to see other businesses and to hear them speak about their experience hiring people with disabilities. I think it is happening, and to put that out there and talk about it and share ideas and, you know, get an award, we think that's all important because it is, you know, tried and true, good for business and good for us. So good for our folks. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope everybody has a great day today.